Hi, good people, and welcome back to our Georgian farmhouse. This week we've started working on the garden to make it look less gross. I share our journey of how we bought our farmhouse and the houses that came before it, and I talk to you guys about the listed building consent process to get ready for our living room project. So let's get into it, shall we? Hi guys, I'm just sitting waiting for an appointment at the hospital. I'm a bit early, which is I'm never early, but I'm early today. I'm having an ultrasound to see if I've got polycystic ovaries, so we shall see. But in the meantime, I thought I would talk a little bit about kind of how we came to get our farmhouse, kind of what the journey is of finding it, buying it, living in it. So what is my hair doing? Oh, sparkling water. Try hard, as John says. Yeah, so when I was a kid, I kind of said this a little bit last week. I grew up on council estates. I lived lots of different houses, and it was what it is. It is what it is. It was what it was. But there were times when I lived in friends' spare bedrooms. So it wasn't the easiest. I find it a bit awkward to talk about. I don't know why. But yeah, there were times when I was living in my best friend's spare bedroom or a friend of a friend's spare bedroom, and it wasn't the most fun I've ever had, let's say. I met John when I was 12. Yeah, he was 12 as well. We met in a science lesson, which is nice, in year 8, and we just became really, really close. Like, we kind of, over time, over the years, we had a really, really big friendship group of maybe about 10 boys and 10 girls, and we just all really got on. But then I fancied John, and thankfully he fancied me too. So we eventually became a couple the day before prom. Wow, like a cheesy sitcom, when we were like 15 or 16. And went to college together, went to the same college. John moved away to Liverpool for university, and I went to Newcastle for university. And then after we graduated university in 2013, we got a flat together. We just rented one, and it was nice. It was like a new build ground floor flat, not far from 𝐼𝐬𝐧𝐝, which is like on the other side of the river from Newcastle. So we got this ground floor 2-bed flat. I mean, the second bedroom was like this big, but it had mould everywhere. I still loved it though. I really did. It felt so amazing having our own place together. And I'd always dreamt of having a family home. And I was like, oh, I know it's not a family home, but it's like a little flat, and I can clean it, and I can keep it, like, I can design it a little bit. We weren't really allowed to do a lot of decor, but even just buying little bits here and there. We got a lot of hand-me-down stuff off my granddad, which was really, really nice. We got like furniture, like sofas, fridges. That was all from my granddad, which was lovely. And then, yeah, John was working in a burger restaurant at the time, and I was a sales negotiator, which is an estate agent, basically. But in England, I think I've got some followers who and some subscribers who are from different countries, and I know that estate agency in England is very different to what it is in America. Like, you don't need a license. You can qualify. You can get some degrees, or you can get qualifications and stuff, but you can just go straight into it if you want to, and then kind of work your way up within the industry. So that was kind of my hope. I always loved houses, so I just thought maybe I can like climb up within this career path. And yeah, we were on pretty low salaries, but it was nice. It was a good time to be alive, I would say, because we were so grateful that we had our own place, that it was just exciting. Even just sitting down and watching TV, it was tiny. It really was tiny, but it was really cute. And I've got loads of pictures on my phone of it, actually, because the mould got out of hand. Like, there was just, in our bedroom behind the chest of drawers, it was growing all the way up. It was like green black mould just growing all the way up. We knew it was wrong. We knew it was bad, obviously, but we were only 21, and we just didn't really know our rights as tenants. So we asked the letting agency if they could sort the damp and the mould, and they just didn't. And then they ended up taking our full deposit to try and fix it at the end. So that was annoying, but you live and you learn. I'll pause there because I need to go into the hospital for my appointment soon. So we haven't made the most progress with the bathroom this week, but what John has done is used his laser, which I know he feels very cool using, to pinpoint the drill holes for the shower screen fixings. You may have seen last week that he bought a specific drill bit for ceramic, which worked really well, and now we have the fixings in, ready to secure the glass. To be honest, I think a part of us is putting off bringing 2 huge sheets of glass up the stairs because we're terrified. It's going to shatter everywhere and then we'll just cry forevermore. So whilst the bathroom has been making some slow progress, we've turned our attention to the garden. After 2 winters of not really doing anything to it, it was looking like we'd spat at it and bullied it for some time. So we decided a lovely jubbly jet wash was on the agenda. We do have more exciting ideas for this garden than just a jet wash, though, I'm sure you'll be relieved to know. If you look at John's rather indecent design, you can see we're going to plant trees at the edge, build a central gravel path, which is very Georgian, and then we're going to build a fire pit at the bottom of the path, which is probably not very Georgian. We want lots of hedging, we want shrubbery. Basically, we just want to make it like a wow transformation that really makes the most of the space and the views, and we can sit outside with our friends and family and everyone will think, this is nice. Yeah, like with a flamethrower or something. Oh, that's so expensive. Oh, that's nice not. Okay, where were we? So I'm American. I went to a place called Durham for my birthday one year back in like 2013, I think it was. Yeah. And I've always liked to just travel around like villages, drive around, walk around and just see places. And we had been to Durham and then we decided to go for a drive around and kind of see what was around because we didn't know the area at all. And we came across this house that was for sale. There was a big for sale sign outside, obviously. And it was gorgeous. It was a terraced Victorian house and it was 3 stories. It looked way too big for 2 people, but we just thought, oh my God, look at the character of that house. And after living in a new build flat, I think we were just drawn to anything that looked quite old. We just liked the character of that. This was bold of me. I just said to John, should we just go knock on the door? Should we just go have a chat? Because obviously we didn't have a viewing booked. We weren't even looking at buying a house. We couldn't afford it. I was on a 12 grand a year salary and John was on a 14 grand a year salary. So we couldn't actually afford it, but we just thought, let's just go and knock on the door and see what happens. So we did. And they were the nicest couple ever. So, so nice. And they were selling, they'd renovated it themselves and now they were selling to kind of move on somewhere smaller they wanted. And they invited us in. They were like, come and have a look around. And I thought, God, I could never do that. If someone knocked on my door unannounced, I'd be like, oh God, it's not clean enough. And it was just amazing. They'd done such a good job at renovating it. And they'd brought back a lot of character in places they told us about. They told us the full story of kind of how they'd done the house. We stayed for a good hour, maybe. And after that point, we were just obsessed. Like, we were obsessed with that house. And I felt bad after we left because I thought we've just wasted their time because we can't afford to buy a house right now. But this sounds a bit like, but you know, when you're like, I have a pull to something. Like, I just thought we need that house. We need it. At the time, I was an estate agent and in-house was a mortgage advisor. So I spoke to him when I went back to work on the Monday and I just said, do you think this is feasible? And he said, well, he has access to different brokers who will give first-time buyers quite high mortgages. And at the time, in 2013, it was just like, we just finished university, both of us, and it just seemed really implausible. But yet we were like, let's just try for it. So we did, and eventually, it took months, mind you, it did take a long, long time. But let's just get comfy. I once went into the bank on my lunch break to go try and convince them. That's such a weird thing to do. But yeah, I was just dead set on it. So I'll just go down, go have a chat with them, ask to speak to them, and they can speak to the underwriters and just say like, listen, we can afford it, it's fine. Eventually, maybe about a week later, we got a letter saying that they were giving us a mortgage offer. And we were like, oh my God, it was just amazing. It was so exciting. And in 2014, we moved into that house. And we bought that house for 145,000. It was advertised at 150. We got it $5 grand under because that was the maximum we could afford. We did actually offer the asking price, but then when we got the mortgage offer, we couldn't afford that. And it was a 5-bedroom Victorian terraced house. It was way too big for us. It really was, but we loved it. We loved it so much. It had so much character. It had parquet flooring that they'd sourced from an old school. It had original paneling. It was beautiful. And we were only young. We were 22 when we bought that house, and we had no idea about DIY, but we just thought, give it a go, see what happens. So we didn't do a lot. John's dad was really, really helpful. John's dad taught John a lot of DIY stuff. So we just did a few little rooms, decorated it to our tastes really, but we didn't actually do any DIY apart from wallpapering. And that went really badly wrong. John did striped wallpaper and he didn't match the stripes up at one side. So it was all dodgy, but whatever. You live and you learn, don't you? He hasn't done wallpapering since. I have, and I did better. The reason it was quite cheap was Durham is a really expensive place, like the city of Durham. But there are some places kind of dotted around it that are quite cheap because it was kind of known that it wasn't like the best place to live. But it was fine and we were happy with it. It only had a small yard. So we knew we wouldn't stay there forever because when we had kids, we wanted a garden. But it was great while we lived there. We lived there for 5 years. And then the next part of the story, we started to kind of plan for the future a little bit because by that point we were 27. And we knew we wanted children one day. So we're kind of like, okay, we want a house in a kind of a nicer area, a bit more that you can walk around the village sort of thing. Or the main priority we wanted was a garden. We wanted to be in North Yorkshire with a garden. I was looking on Rightmove and I was like, oh my God. And I just stopped and I thought, that is beautiful. And it was a total juxtaposition of the house we owned. It was a new build barn conversion in North Yorkshire, and it was just exactly what we wanted. It had a huge garden. It was in the countryside down like a long farm lane, and it was just amazing. And I was like, John, we need to go see this. And that was advertised at 295. And we went to go view the barn conversion in North Yorkshire, and it was so busy. There were, honestly, I think there were 3 other couples at the same exact time, and the estate agent said they had appointments pretty much like through the rest of the afternoon. And I just thought, oh God, this ain't gonna work, is it? I was so desperate for that house, but I had a bit of like a reality of this many people who want the same house. It's not looking good, mate. So we offered. They accepted our offer of 295. We couldn't go below asking because there was so much interest. And they told us somebody else has also offered 295. Another couple who are also selling their property just like you. So it pretty much became a race. And it was intense, man. Like we didn't actually get the house. So I say so loads. Shut up, woman. How do you not say so? But it was all good. It was fine. Because then they said to us, the developer has 2 other barns on the same development still to sell. And they showed us another one and they said, this is the same. It's 295. It's a slightly bigger size than the original barn, but it's the same price. And we were like, take it. We want it. So it didn't even go to market. And we shook hands at the 295. And then we moved in there in 2019. And that was a dream, like just dream. I'll tell you the rest later because I need to shut up.
What I really, really want to keep.
Really want to zig.
Dying plant. Apparently need something called water.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. Exquisite. I think actually the blend of colours is a homage to the French Art Nouveau. Oh, steady on, Pete. Don't kill it.
I think that's Beyonce in that bit.
You're Beyonce.
Beyonce?
All single ladies, all single ladies.
You will slip and slide, but I can always catch your groove. I've been hurt before and saw you inside me. Pulling on my heart, all the strings will fly. See, you can take the cake, I'm just icing. Blow so quick, never fuck with the Pisces. But I learn quick. We could change shape in a tick. With a broken heart and nights apart, I'm wide awake and I'm just still thinking about you, baby. I've been doing all I can, and baby, I'm not built to fight like on the daily. But you know I just need a little training, and now I'm a little too much. We get stuck in this place where I'm lost without a chase, but I can't seem to find any better use of time. Come on now, baby, yeah, you know I just need a little training. Come get me. So what's the best time for you? Yeah, we can play your games, but I could never see me lose. Yeah, I've been checking out your moves. You a slip and slide, but I can always catch your groove. But what's the use? Why are we so dark? I like. We get stuck in this place where I'm lost without a chase, but
It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Look how dusty my car is. It was on the market 2 years before we even were looking at buying a house. When we showed our family it, they were like, what are you doing? John's parents were like, this is a big job, isn't it? And we were like, yeah. But we knew we wanted that, so it was fine. It did scare us a bit, not gonna lie. It was a bit like, what are we doing? But we knew it was what we wanted to do. We knew. So we offered, and it took I think it took 5 days for the estate agent to ring us back to say the vendor had accepted our offer. And yeah, it was a giddy time, but it was also filled with a lot of anticipation and fear. And buying a house anyway is always scary, isn't it? But because it was our first renovation project, we thought like, along the way, kind of through the conveyancing process, we had moments where we thought, is this the right thing to do? Is this terrifying? Do we know what we're doing? Do we have enough money to even do this? The answer is no. But we just kind of thought, we'll do it in bits and we'll learn, and that's fine. But do you know what? Touch wood. Hopefully it's all working out, and maybe it was meant to be. How could you have afforded it? And we are going to do a proper video on all the finances and kind of like the cost of the renovation, the cost of the property and stuff like that in a few weeks' time. And it was actually 2 years ago this month that we moved in. And what have we done in that time? We've renovated the snug, the kitchen, the playroom, the family bathroom nearly, in the hallway. So I guess 5 rooms out of the 18 that there are. So yeah, we are making, I would like to say, decent progress. Everything takes a bit longer than you think it's going to take, because I think we thought we'd take 6 weeks to do the hallway and it took 6 months. Good times. Yeah, anyway, let's we need to do some listed building consent, don't we? So shall we go talk about that? Get in my ice, woman. Yeah, should we go talk about kind of what the process is of that? Squenchy armpit. But I'm just going to make a tuna salad, so bear with me. Our house is grade 2 listed, so why does salad go out of date so quickly? It's not the crispiest. No, it's alright, I'll just have a soggy wet salad, never mind. Because our house is grade 2 listed, it basically means that it's like a heritage, historical, what's the word? Asset. So it needs to be looked after, which is good, because it means that nobody can just own it and knock historical features down, which we would never want to do anyway. But it just protects it, really. Lock it. So we learnt quite early on that even for redecoration, we have to apply for listed building consent. It's not full planning permission, it doesn't cost anything, but it means you have to fill in kind of a full application of what your plans are to do differently to that room. Technically, every person, I don't know if they have, but every person who's owned this house at some stage should have applied for listed building consent for every single room they decorated. That means that the permission for that particular room stands. So say that this kitchen, for example, used to be green, the planning permission would have allowed the room to be green. So if you are then repainting it a neutral or bright pink, you can't do that without the listed building consent. So what we have to do is we have to fill in, I've got used to it because I've done it now quite a few times, but the process is quite long. We have to basically answer lots of questions about what our plans are for the house, for that particular room. Oh, mouldy. And then you have to do things where you like talk about the impact on any public roads. You have to talk about the impact of people kind of looking at the house. Obviously, we've not done anything structural, but you do have to answer that if you're planning on changing anything structural about the house. And you have to talk about what your detailed plans proposition is to change kind of the decor. Now, you also have to include photographs. You have to include plans, kind of like a drawing of what you want, and you have to include like boundaries and stuff like that of what it's going to affect. So tuna stinks, and it leaked down my arm, so now I'm going to have a tuna arm. Great. So it's quite a lengthy process to make sure you fit all those things in, but it's necessary. And it's a good thing because, like I said before, it's trying to protect a heritage asset, which is our 1790 property. So I'm going to do, the questions are quite straightforward because I'm used to doing them now, but John's going to do the drawing on his computer in a little while, and I am going to do the heritage impact statements and how it kind of impacts the the historicness of the property, I guess. And I'm also going to write out the plans and the kind of order of how we're going to do the living room. However, I'm going to have this soggy tuna salad first because I'm really hungry and this looks really appetizing. So after answering all the questions, I've made a full order of works, heritage impact statement and material list. So we want to remove the existing stained grey carpet, we want to replace the fireplace with a reclaimed one, we want to add panelling and wallpaper and new paint, and then a nice new carpet as well. In our dealings with them, they've been great, as they can hopefully see. We want to restore Georgian character where we can, and we're not trying to strip it out, are we? So hopefully they'll approve this plan, but it does generally take about 8 weeks. Thanks so much for watching, you beautiful people. I'd love it if you liked and subscribed. Next week, we're going to show you all the renovation mistakes and lessons we've learned. So I will see you next Sunday. Have a great week. Guys, this is what dreams are made of. Hey, hey, hey! And let the vote on rock and roll. What would your karaoke song be, John? Imagine if a ghost just walked by or just came and sat down next to me and was like, hey, can I join in? Be nice, wouldn't it? They're all of me.